below zero in some areas, while power outages are reported from the Great Lakes to the Deep South. Over 500,000 American homes and businesses were without power Saturday because of severe thunderstorms and damaging winds. Fierce winds have also been pounding the northwest, causing over 180,000 to lose power. The NFL playoff game between the Bills and Steelers, scheduled for today, has had to be pushed back to tomorrow because of a powerful winter storm targeting western New York. David Folk Thomas is in New York.
Governor Kathy Hochul holding a press conference Saturday to announce the decision.
The NFL has agreed with our assessment that we need to postpone tomorrow's playoff game until 4:30 p.m. Monday afternoon.
Hochul says the storm was expected to hit the Buffalo area with intensity Saturday evening. The governor says the bullseye of the storm is expected to hit right when some 70,000 fans were expected to be traveling to and from the game.
In Washington Saturday, thousands rallied outside the White House calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Organizers of the pro-Palestinian March on Washington claim about 25,000 took part. Alleged serial killer in New York, Rex Heuermann's expected to face a fourth murder charge this week. Heuermann's already charged with the murder of 3 women whose remains were found near Long Island's Gilgo Beach in 2010. Heuermann has denied any wrongdoing. An icon in the soap opera world has passed away. Bill Hayes appeared on NBC's Days of Our Lives for more than 50 years. His agent confirms Hayes died Friday surrounded by family at the age of 98. Scott Carr, NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hey, WCPT listeners, stay ahead of the curve with our new offering, The Lead. It's your weekly roundup of the news you might have missed. As an independently owned progressive outlet, we bring you breaking stories and analysis you won't find anywhere else. Sign up now for The Lead at heartlandsignal.com. You've been working hard all day and didn't have time to catch up on the news during work.
And that phone just wouldn't stop.
We've got you covered. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
We will fight as many places and as many times as it takes to get this power back.
Joan Esposito, afternoons from 2 to 5 p.m. WCPT 820.
Tune in to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez on WCPT 820 AM.
President Obama was able to maintain our safety when in the face of the possible spread of Ebola. And in contrast, Fox News went on there and said masks don't work, the vaccine's going to kill you. Oh, and then they had talking heads saying, it's okay, our elderly want to die anyway. They are willing to sacrifice themselves for us keeping our economy open. I can't with the anger, the hostility, spreading misinformation.
Tune in to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on WCPT 820 AM.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
This is a WCPT Better in a Minute. After working several odd jobs in New York City, Henry Johnson found his way into the National Guard during World War I. Johnson was assigned to the 369th Infantry Regiment, but the all-black unit was better known as the Harlem Hellfighters. The Hellfighters' first task was assisting the French Fourth Army. On May 15, 1918, Hellfighter Johnson noticed Germans attempting to break in. Johnson retreated to get backup from the French troops, noticing German soldiers were attempting to kidnap another Hellfighter. Despite standing at only 5'4", Johnson sprung into action. With only 3 bullets and a bolo knife, Johnson was able to kill 4 enemy soldiers and wounded 21 others, causing them to retreat, saving himself and his men. However, Johnson received a total of 21 injuries all over his body, including his left foot being shattered. Johnson was discharged, and his papers did not show his heroism or his injury, leaving him unable to receive any disability compensation, leaving Johnson penniless at the time of his death at age 36. Johnson's heroism went unnoticed for decades until President Barack Obama awarded him the Medal of Honor in 2015.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammed Fahim, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, Chicago. Good frozen morning. And part of, getting into journalism is showing up. Okay. So in spite of it being like minus 30 or whatever on the wind chill, John and I are in the studios today. And you are welcome to call in. The number to call in is 773-763-9278. Ken DeLuke could not make it. He had car problems. At least that is what his excuse is. And Ken, good morning. Did your phone start or not?
Howdy, folks. Yeah, the phone's working, but the car isn't. So okay. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here. But,
okay. So, folks, we got a full day plan. Full hour plan again for today, no matter what the weather is outside. We are sitting in here warm and snug. With me in the studio is John Arena.
Good morning. Good to see you all.
And joining us shortly would be Michelle Alfano. She will be calling in to give an update on what's happening with Eric's case and also talking about some of the statistics in our prison system as to how much money we are spending, what is happening with our prison system. Is there any reformation working? What the heck is happening with our money? The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is obviously the Middle East and what is happening with the International Court of Justice. Surprisingly enough, Ken, the Western media did not cover South Africa's presentation at the International Court of Justice. They just presented or covered the Israeli version the next day or so, which is kind of strange, but not so strange.
Not so strange.
Yeah. And
they can tend to get deference.
Okay. So we are still letting the United States of Israel, I guess, tell us or tell our media what should be reported and what should not be reported. Folks, there's a lot of things happening out there. Yesterday there was a big rally in Washington and in London. It was a day of protest to ask for an immediate ceasefire. I don't know why we are not calling for an immediate ceasefire. That should be at least the bare minimum. You think it is cold in Chicago? It is very cold right now in the Middle East also. And the temperatures can really plummet, John. I've been there. And these people don't have anything to eat. They don't have any shelter. They don't have any fuel. The least we can do, Mr. President, is call for a ceasefire. I don't know what's keeping you, man, from asking for a ceasefire. And our friends at Fox News carried a headline saying rioters protested in front of the White House. There was no riots. Okay, so this is how these guys are messing up the psyche of the nation. We also have our person of the week, which is Shelley, and Sheila White would be introducing Shelley as our person of the week, and she will talk about some of the great things that Shelley is doing for the community. Also wanted to talk about the PAC money. What are the PACs? Why is individuals or these political action committees, how were they formed? Why are they allowed to put in millions of dollars into buying our representatives? John, you want to start off with some background on what a PAC is?
Sure. So there's most people have probably heard of something like this. Super PACs are always in the news. These are funds, and there's different kinds. There's segregated fund PACs and non-segregated fund PACs, and each of them have different rules. Super PACs get talked about a lot because they can take unlimited amount of funds from corporations, individuals, and other political action committees. But they get used by labor unions, but they also get used by moneyed interests. The Koch brothers control a number of super PACs. Mm-hmm. But so they get used on both sides of the political spectrum, and they're designed to allow for what's supposed to be independent expenditures from an individual candidate's campaign, and they're not supposed to coordinate with an individual campaign on messaging. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't signals sent through the ether to say, hey, we're happen to be talking about this today, and all of a sudden a PAC ad comes out. So there's ways to kind of that make that fungible in terms of where that coordination happens.
Okay, and then you got individuals like the Koch brothers or this guy Bill Ackman now. Okay, this guy says he's going to be spending $100 million to make sure that the squad does not get reelected and they get primary challenges.
And these are the congresswomen of the AOCs of the world.
Correct. Okay. So my point is this, folks. Why are we... I mean, where did these things come from? I know that it came through a Supreme Court decision in the AFL-CIO and all of those things that you were talking about this morning.
Yeah, back in 1943, there was that they couldn't just take individual contributions, and so there came out of the labor movement, and I think we were talking a little bit before. Citizens United kind of supercharged the use of PACs. That's when they kind of became this tool for corporate money to go in large amounts into these PACs. I think that's what really set fire underneath the cauldron, if you will, because before that, corporations couldn't really, donate unlimited funds. And then once they were determined to be entities unto themselves that had First Amendment rights, that kind of opened the floodgates. And these PACs are ways that corporations can donate and people can donate unlimited funds without oversight because they don't have to disclose.
Something is wrong, folks. Something is wrong. Something is screwed up in our political systems over here. And it is time that...
I don't know if you guys remember John Roberts back in the day. He had very vocally at the State of the Union address, just called out Barack Obama saying, liar because of the Citizens United, decision that they came up with. And that's probably the most impactful thing against, freedom and against what we need to, have in terms of our electorate. It's like the most, the craziest decision ever as far as that goes. I don't know.
The constitutionality of it, being settled by the Supreme Court, that corporations are like me or you, and they're clear, they're not.
But
in
here,
terms
John,
of reach and scope.
You and I can only donate up to what, $2,700 and $2,900 or something to an individual's campaign, right?
Depends on the level of government.
Right.
Congress is $5,000 for an individual.
Okay, so if we have a limit, why not the corporations?
Well, the corporation is limited to make a direct contribution of $5,000,
right?
Or I think might be $10,000 for corporations, but it's still there is limits, and this is the game, right? Yes, I'll give you the $5,000, I'll give you $10,000, but then I'm going to put $100,000 into the super PAC that's going to align with your policy positions and support that. And so it is a way around, a workaround around those limitations that Congress needs to act in terms of reforming money in politics.
Oh, do you think Congress is going to act?
Oh, yeah, they're all over it.
Oh, yeah, they're all over it.
On top of, once they fund the government and fund Ukraine and fund Israel, they'll get right to that.
They'll get right to it. Folks, I mean, the whole system is screwed up, okay? And we have allowed that to happen. why don't we come out and vote? And that's the bare minimum that we can do is come out and vote, okay? Register to vote, come out and vote. The voter turnout in our country is abysmal, to say the least. 20,
especially
30%.
When it's negative 30 degrees out.
And we got the Iowa caucuses tomorrow. Talk about that, John.
Yeah, so what is it? It's like, I don't know, it's like 0 degrees here in Chicago. And last night, watching the news, they were predicting across Iowa, the average was negative 20 to negative 30 degrees with the wind chill. So just knowing what a little bit of rain does to turn out here in Chicago, I kind of think the caucuses are going to be a little thin this year.
Well, they're saying that the results are expected around 7:45 p.m. CST tomorrow. Okay. And Ryan Binkley, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley. Oh, goodness. And,
our big
dropped out. So yes. Yeah, our big elephant in the room. I don't know what the big elephant is doing. Okay.
Can we say his name or no?
Well, the devil's advocate. How about
devil's
that?
Advocate. They're just the devil.
But this is how our country is being run, folks, and we have allowed that to happen. Okay. We'll take a quick break and come back on the other side of the break with a quick report from Michelle, and then we will continue our conversations today. The number to call in is 773-763-9278.
Are you a business looking for the right talent? For a job seeker searching for your dream career? Look no further than the Center for Strategic Solutions, your workforce solutions expert. Our experienced team at the Center for Strategic Solutions is dedicated to connecting employers with top-tier talent and helping job seekers find opportunities that truly align with their goals. We're more than just consultants. We're your partners in success. Ready to take your workforce to the next level or land that ideal job? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 1-847-306-9274 or www.cfssus.com. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and job seekers for success in the heart of Chicago.
Did you know there's an Illinois mandate that states by 2025, ComEd has to have 25% of the energy they deliver come from a green source? Because of this, plus the fees and taxes you've already paid on this program, if you qualify, you can get solar on your home at no out-of-pocket cost. This can mean an average savings on your electric bill of maybe 30 to 50%. More importantly, it would eliminate the uncertainty of ComEd raising your rates by whoever knows how much each year. Some people have noticed a 41% increase on their bill this spring, and ComEd has been asking for another 80% increase over the next 4 years. If your average bill is $200 a month now, maybe it could be reduced to $100 a month. Now, 5 years, would you rather pay $115 or possibly $400 to $500? If you'd like to see if you can qualify for this program, call Ken DeLuke at 312-617-8979. That's 312-617-8979. Help us save the environment and change that electric bill burden. That's 312-617-8979. Take advantage of this program while it's still available.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Okay, folks, so welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And the number to call in is 773-763-9278. Good frozen Sunday morning to you guys. Stay warm, and if you really want to save your pipes and all of that, make sure that you have a trickle of water going, especially in the kitchen sink, and keep those doors open for the cabinets under the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are things that you need to be very, very cognizant of. And let's see, we got Michelle Alfano calling in again to give an update on what's happening with the prison system. Michelle, good morning. Welcome to the Lightning Strike.
Good morning, Mohammed and team. So I would like to just remind people, or they may not know, that in the United States, we have approximately 2 million people incarcerated, and that covers federal prisons, state prisons, jails, youth detention, civil commitment, the ICE detention, parole, probation. So I'm talking about the Eric Strain case. But this case is representative of thousands of people. So in Iowa, Eric Strang is incarcerated in Newton Correctional Facility, which is a treatment facility under the direction of Beth Skinner, the director of the Department of Corrections. And here's an example of what treatment looks like at a treatment center. You wait about 5 years to get into this treatment, and it's dead time. You just wait. Then you get your treatment, which is a 6-month program. And even then, a lot of days are canceled for snow days and holidays, so it's not even 6 months of intense treatment. In Eric's case, when he finished the program in 2022, he was told, we're going to do a further review on you, and that will be a 7-year wait. So the topic I'm talking about today is dead time, and it's dead time at taxpayer expense. So when you've done your treatment and you've done your time, and when I say time, sentences have minimum mandatories. So in Eric's case, he got a 34-year sentence, but by 2017, he was eligible for release. So he has done everything the system has asked of him, particularly this treatment program that takes years to get into. But he's done his sentence time, his minimum, plus 7 years after that. And he's done all the different programs that they have, apprenticeships and different mentoring and different classes. So it's a real concern when we have people doing dead time, just sitting idly in a prison setting with no programs available now. He's done everything. And this brings us to the question of, are we punishing the crime, or should we really address the cause? So Eric landed in this situation because of underage drinking on the Iowa State University campus at age 19. And at what point do we say, Iowa State University, you are allowing, turning the other cheek, very prevalent underage drinking on your campus? And that's a national problem. We know it's happening at so many universities. And kids who are drinking excessively with no supervision, and it's illegal. They shouldn't even be drinking until after age 21. They're getting into problems. And then when they get into the problem, rather than addressing the cause of the problem and saying, we need some transformative justice here, we need kids doing community service or job training or apprenticeships or learning from their mistakes, rather than doing that, the system we have right now is punishing severely the crime. And we're using tax dollars for prisons and police and attack dogs and bulletproof vests and mace, and holding people to the excessive amount of time that we can.
Well,
Does this make communities safer?
It's a business. It's a business, Michelle, and we know that. Okay, the prison system has become the prison industrial complex now. It's basically keeping those beds full so that these people can get reimbursed and they have a job. And that system needs to change, folks. We will be focusing on this throughout the rest of the year if needed, till change happens, okay? And the best thing that
Mohammed,
you can do is...
let me jump in. Mohammed, let me tell you something important before we go. On January 9th, Governor Kim Reynolds gave her condition of the state address. And she spoke to her people of her state, Iowa, and there was no mention whatsoever of the prison system in Iowa, where, as I said, we have 17,000 people being held, and each one of those people has families who are impacted. So we're talking about a huge group of people. Now, she did say that we should hold the government accountable. She didn't say anything else about prison systems or criminal justice reform, not one word about it. But I really want to hold her to those words. of holding government accountable.
Absolutely, Michelle, and we will continue to follow up on this. And it's not just the Iowa system, folks. Even the Illinois IDOC is screwed up, and we know that. And we are digging into it. We'll bring you more information as soon as our investigations are completed. Okay, and coming back now. Let us see, who is Patrick? I have a Patrick on hold over here, Dylan, and unless it is somebody that is calling in to talk about some of the subjects that we are discussing. Patrick, good morning. You are on the air, and is that a wrong name that I'm saying? What can I do for you, my friend?
Hello, sir. Hi. I'm actually waiting to speak with, along with Shelley Skaz. Person of the week.
Okay, wonderful, Patrick. Thank you for clarifying that. We'll wait for Sheila to call in, and Sheila is the segment producer. And every time, folks, every week, we try to focus on a person of the week, somebody that is doing something exceptional to give back to the community, and we want to recognize their contributions to the community. So, John, coming back to our discussion that we started off with, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, now on Friday heard Israel's defense against allegations by South Africa that it had carried out acts of genocide in Gaza on the second day of the hearings that were live streamed for the world to watch. Unfortunately, Western media did not live stream, except for a couple of places. There was no coverage.
Yeah, CNN had just kind of mentioned that it was going on. I've heard on NPR a little bit of commentary about it, but very limited.
Nearly 25,000 people have been killed, in Gaza since October 7th. Almost 10,000 of them children. Thousands more are lost under the rubble and presumed dead. Now, South Africa claims that Israel has breached the 1948 Genocide Convention in its war on Gaza. And on Thursday, the legal team acting for South Africa requested that the court issue emergency measures to stop the continuing aerial bombardment and ground invasion of the Strip. One of the things that I'm unable to understand, again, folks, don't get me wrong, this is all about trying to find a solution for things. Why do we allow people in our country to have dual citizenships? That is something that I'm unable to understand. Our secretaries, Secretary Blinken is a dual citizen. So if you are a dual citizen, where do your loyalties lie, man? That is a question that I would like to bring up, The request for provisional measures was the crux of this week's proceedings, and Secretary Blinken is just pushing it under the rug and saying, hey, nothing happened, nothing to see there, folks. Now, in its Friday counter-submission now, Israel's representatives, led by the British lawyer and academic Malcolm Shaw, King's Counsel, argued that South Africa's application distorted, under quotes, decontextualized, under quotes, Tel Aviv's military actions in Gaza, and that in accusing Israel of genocide, Pretoria was, again under quotes, diluting the meaning of the crime. I mean, here are Israel's main counter-arguments, and let's look at where they stand up, folks. And if you want to call in and chime in, the number to call in, 773-763. WCPT or 763-9278. So Israel is arguing that Hamas attacks on army outposts in surrounding villages in southern Israel, as well as the taking of hundreds of captives on October 7, is what started the Gaza war, and that Israel has a right to defend itself under international law. Now, Tal Becker, an advocate for the Israeli team, told the court that the Genocide Convention was drawn up in the aftermath of the mass killings of Jews in the Holocaust, and that the phrase, never again, is one of the highest moral obligations for Israel. Now, this is Israel's arguments. Okay, by requesting an interim order against Israel's invasion, Becker said South Africa is trying to deny Israel the opportunity to meet its obligation to the captives taken and to the Israelis displaced after the October 7 attacks from communities near the border with Gaza. Okay. But Neil Simons now, the senior campaigner on Palestine at the human rights organization War on Want, says that Israel's arguments are weak. Of course, both South Africa and human rights organizations like us condemn the killing of civilians and taking of hostages, Simons says, but this is no way justifies the response from Israel. And Ken, you have been saying that also in our conversations during the past week, past couple of weeks now. As an occupying force, Israel does not have the right to self-defense. That argument does not hold water.
All right. Let's look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous, okay? On October 7th, there were 1,200 Israelis that were killed with the attack. But since then, Israeli forces have killed, as of last week, it's probably bigger now, over 22,000 Gazans.
Or 24,000 and counting. 24,000 and counting,
Yeah,
Ken.
24,000, right. Over 9,100 are children. 57,000 persons have been wounded, and at least 7,000 are reported missing, okay? And who knows how many are trapped under the rubble. So, I mean, there's an order of magnitude greater for the response than what actually happened to Israel, and they've completely blown this thing out of proportion. You know, I understand you want to go after terrorists, but there are better ways of doing that than just committing genocide, which is basically what's going on here.
Well, here's the thing, Ken. The ICJ had in 2003 ruled that an occupying power cannot complain the right to self-defense. In a case involving Israel's construction of a separation wall in the occupied West Bank, Israel does not consider itself to be an occupying power, okay, since its disengagement from Gaza in 2006. The UN and a variety of human rights organizations have rejected this claim, however, while international legal scholars have been divided about whether Gaza was occupied, under quotes, according to international law. Now, the Israeli legal team has said that South Africa's accusations that Tel Aviv has an inherent intent to destroy the Palestinian people are based on random assertions.
The random assertions of the leadership of the IDF, who have said that they need to hunt down and kill, and associating all Palestinians with Hamas.
Yeah, and some of the most revealing statements now, John, were made by the president and the prime minister and the defense minister and other key decision makers of Israel now. But in his presentation, the King's Counsel, Mr. Shaw, has said that the statement made by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and alluding to Amalek, remember that? The biblical reference, which was cited specifically by the South African team on Thursday, have been taken out of context.
Of course. Well, they have, I think, as Ken pointed out, they have a ratio problem. So their claim is, and even this has been disputed, the 1,200, but let's say 1,200 people died in that attack on October 7th. Let's just cede that for the moment. We're at 24,000. So the question is, what's the value of a, does Israel want us to do a value comparison, say what's the value of an Israeli life to the value of a Palestinian life? And how many of those, maybe they're claiming 5,000 Hamas militants have been killed in these attacks to take up, bring us down to 19,000 Palestinian men, women, and children have been killed. So what's the ratio of vengeance that you're allowed to get before you start saying, okay, and I think the argument of, well, we're not an occupying force is being debated, but when you control all fuel, all supplies, all medicines, all things about how life is executed in Gaza, whether you can work or not, is all up to the Israeli government.
Well, here's the thing. Shaw also went on to complete the statement by saying that the Israeli military is the most moral army and does everything to avoid the killing of innocents. Okay, I'm just quoting him verbatim over here.
Yeah, I heard
now,
that
in
quote.
available clips of the recording, though, Netanyahu does not say those words. Okay, after referring to the Bible story Netanyahu does not say those things, right? He said, our brave troops and combatants who are now in Gaza and other regions of Israel are joining this chain of Jewish heroes. I mean, come on, folks. You don't take, things out of context, and then you come back and you argue that, oh, no, this is not what he said. This is not, Netanyahu says that a chain that had started 3,000 years ago from Joshua ben Nun until the heroes of 1948. Their one supreme goal to completely defeat the murderous enemy. I mean, this is all rhetoric, folks, and he's just trying to hold on to his seats, to his seat, because he knows that in Israel yesterday there was a huge protest against Netanyahu. Also, people want this guy to go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's under indictment in Israel for crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors there. So there's court. It feels like there's a lot of he has to cover himself away and use something to distract from his criminal actions in previous administrations. It is stunning to me, the arguments being made that, and even watching some of the video, Al Jazeera had a video clip. One of their reporters was in front of a hospital in Rafah, which is the far, it's right up on that. That's the town that's the crossing to the Egyptian border. 4 missiles, one each in succession, on video, plummeted into the top of the hospital while this guy was on talking about how the hospital is the last refuge. So they bombed every single hospital, and the argument is, yeah, but there might be militants in there, or we found evidence. They're not on the ground. They're basically, this is through whatever intelligence they're saying, or they're just saying this is our justification. But when you're forcing people to kettle into the smallest, area of a 7-mile strip, right, wide strip, it's and then putting targeted missiles into the top of these hospitals, you can't make, in my opinion, an argument that you're trying to avoid civilian casualties. When you're hitting them, if you're going to go in, go ahead, Ken.
Wissam Vaturi, Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, and a member of the Foreign Affairs and Security Committee, he himself said, now we all have one common goal, erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth. Okay? Yeah. I mean, really? That's just, beyond the pale. And where this whole situation is going.
They would argue that was taken out of context.
Everything is taken out of context. Okay.
Well, actually, that was a direct quote.
Well,
I know, but it was taken out of context. Okay, come on, man.
Say, but hey, you didn't really understand what I meant.
This guy, the King's Counsel, Mr. Shaw, has said that Pretoria had failed to communicate with Tel Aviv about the case before filing the application to the court, as required by the court's rules. So there is a lack of jurisdiction now. Okay, the Israeli representatives have claimed that South Africa had given it only a few days to respond to notification that it was committing genocide. Oh yeah, okay.
Well, they had notice enough to add a judge to the. Israel has the right to add a judge to the 15
judge panel.
The 15 judge, which they did. Who's a former? He is a survivor of the Holocaust, and it's good that they have their own representation. But it kind of moots the argument that we didn't know this was coming when you had enough time to seat your own judge.
Okay, folks. So that is the dystopian world that we are living in today. Okay, this whole thing. The media is managed, we know that, and that's where independent journalism comes in so very important in today's world, folks. Please go to our website, www.tlschicago.com, and you'll see that there's a button for you to make a small donation to keep our show on the air. As you can see, we don't take corporate advertising over here, but we do need support to keep this thing going.
You're going to start a super PAC? Maybe we should look at this closer.
I wish. Okay.
But here's the important thing: if you do the super PAC, you have to make sure there's no meeting of the minds coalition that we're talking with each other. It's got to be completely independent. So.
Okay. Now, jokes aside, folks, our whole intent is to hold our elected representatives responsible for performing their duties. And I saw one of them come out the other day and said they get paid in Congress. They get paid $174,000. Okay, plus free health care, free everything, you name it. And this lady is saying that's not enough money for me to perform my duties. Now, half of the time you guys are there just dicking around. Okay, you're not doing any work at all. They spent like days or hours talking about Joe Biden's son. Okay.
Yes, which is, I guess, the guy who's never served a minute in public office is really the biggest threat to democracy.
Biggest threat to democracy. And then, one of these ladies is showing, his pictures of his genitals.
MTG, the upstanding citizen, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Is showing, the pictures of genitals in our congressman.
She tried to introduce pictures in this latest hearing.
Yeah.
She tried to introduce pictures of his genitals into the congressional record. Like we have lost so much decorum that no wonder nobody really looks at Congress and goes, "Yeah, that's a serious place anymore."
We got a bunch of jackasses up there. Okay,
John, seriously, John, what about the laptop?
Yes, of course, that laptop.
The thing is this, Ken. I mean, Joe Biden's son has no relevance to the importance of other issues in our country going on now. Okay, this is crazy stuff that is going on in our elected offices, folks.
Does it seem like there's a thread of just trying to create noise over in one place about nothing in order to, take people's attention away from the real issues that are affecting our democracy? Like
and
the performance of Congress to pass a budget and to stick to agreements that they make, and for the former president to be held accountable for his crimes.
Well, we got Ron from Michigan calling in, and Ron wants to talk about the Hamas conflict. And Ron, go ahead. I mean, this is an open forum, man. If you want to disagree with some of the things that we said, feel free. If you want to agree,
good morning,
all the more power to you. Good morning.
I don't really want to disagree. I mean, I'll grant you Israel is carrying out a genocidal policy. If we look at it from the standpoint of a ceasefire, or they should be fighting house to house and not indiscriminately bombing civilians who are in the way. That's not the way they're going to do it. Okay, they have the firepower. They have. They do not have the manpower to carry out a house-to-house conflict. And as far as genocide goes, if the other side had the means to commit genocide against the Israelis, they would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they don't, and they are in a position where the Israelis, with the U.S., has the power to eliminate them. But the history, we have to go. Let me just go back to the history. You remember the Marine barracks bombing in Lebanon? Was that Hezbollah or who blew them up? I get confused with who blew who up and that one. But Reagan was the president, and when that happened, he turned tail and he ran. He did not want to get involved with the Middle East, but I think it was Hezbollah. I can't. But at that point in time, I know a Marine captain who they had Hezbollah, whoever that was, the culprits targeted in the Bekaa Valley, and they were ready to eliminate them, but they had the orders, do not touch them. And if I'm not mistaken, the Israelis used those same people to work against the PLO, and now Hezbollah, I guess it is, they are targeted for elimination. It's a vicious cycle, and it's just never ending. And I don't have an answer, but
and Ron, in that bombing in Beirut, in Lebanon, now that was 1983. Okay, 220 Marines and 18 U.S. Navy soldiers and 3 U.S. Army soldiers lost their lives in the Marine barracks at the Beirut airport. My question is, what were our soldiers and our Marines doing there to begin with, man? Why are we trying to be the world's policemen and then nothing happens to the children of our Congress people and our senators. They don't go out to fight, okay? And our former president obviously had a bone spur or something when wars were happening, so he never showed up to go fight for the country. Something is screwed up, Ron. And thank you so much for calling in. How's the weather in Michigan, man?
Terrible. If you love snow, it's plenty of it and cold and wind, but hey, that's the way it goes, okay? I'm glad it's here instead of the global warming heat, okay? I don't like it one bit, but we need it, okay?
Okay, at the moment.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for calling in. And, folks, we will take a quick break, and you're listening to the Lightning Strike Talk Radio Show on Chicago's progressive talk radio station, WCPT AM 820. This is Mohammed Fahim. With me in the studio is John Arena. And Ken has joined us over the phone today. He could not make it to the studio. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, did you know there's a program in Illinois that if you qualify for it would allow you to get solar installed in your home at no out-of-pocket cost? The benefit to you would be a reduction of your electric bill, possibly as high as 30 to 50%, and more importantly, you would take out the uncertainty of almost guaranteed future price increases imposed from your electric company. If you'd like to see if you can qualify for this program, call Ken DeLuke at 312-617-8979. That's 312-617-8979. Help us save the environment and change that electric bill burden.
Are you a business looking for the right talent or a job seeker searching for your dream career? Look no further than the Center for Strategic Solutions, your workforce solutions expert. Our experienced team at the Center for Strategic Solutions is dedicated to connecting employers with top-tier talent and helping job seekers find opportunities that truly align with their goals. We're more than just consultants. We're your partners in success. Ready to take your workforce to the next level or land that ideal job? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 1-847-306-9274 or www.cfssus.com. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and job seekers for success in the heart of Chicago.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And before we go on to our Person of the Week, and we actually have two people online from our Person of the Week, but John, you had a couple of things that you wanted to share with our audience.
Oh, you want to talk about the...
Yeah.
Okay. So, we were talking about accountability on the show a lot, and right now Trump is... him and his lawyers are arguing against accountability. What they're saying is that the president is immune to all prosecution. And maybe you can play clip one to get us started. This is their argument in front of the appeals court in D.C., the Fifth Circuit, I believe.
Sort of the implications of what you're arguing. I understand your position to be that a president is immune from criminal prosecution for any official act that he takes as president, even if that action is taken for an unlawful or unconstitutional purpose. Is that correct?
With an important exception, which is that if the president is impeached and convicted by the United States Senate in a, proceeding that reflects, widespread political consensus, that would authorize the prosecution under the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause. Okay. So yes, with that exception.
So it seems to me that there are a lot of things that might not go through that process because it's quite a cumbersome process that requires the action of a whole branch of government that has a lot of different people involved. And so in your view, could a president...
So here's the thing, folks. This is an ongoing thing. I think we should continue this next week to go into more detail with some of the other clips.
Yeah. Well, let me just give some context on that clip. So that was Judge Michelle Pan, I believe is her name. And she's one of the three judges that were questioning Trump's lawyer. And the fundamental there of what they're trying to argue is that, and at least now what they're trying to argue, is that only if a president is convicted in the Senate after being impeached in the House can he then be tried in the civil side, right? When we go criminal courts. And Judge Pan goes on to ask a question about, so if he ordered, which is an executive order to have SEAL Team 6 murder or assassinate a political rival, and like asking him directly, like, this is a hypothetical. The answer from the attorney was yes, as long as he can be convicted and tried of that on the criminal courts if he's first impeached. Now, we've seen impeachments far too often.
This is going around in circles. That's the going around in circles argument, right?
And I mean, it goes back to, there's quite a few clips that I pulled of this. There's about 2 hours on C-SPAN of audio from this, and you could find it from most major networks. But it's a good 2 hours of constitutional argument that I thought was fascinating, and now I'm a complete nerd for this stuff. So it may be like, John, you're a little weird, but
well, that's what we do, folks. We do a lot of research before we come on the air with you guys over here. Remember, WCPT
John,
is
the main point. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says what they're trying to say.
Ken, we will continue this next week because we got Sheila calling in and we got our person of the week. So here's what I was telling folks, that when we come on the air over here, we make sure that we are talking facts, okay? We don't make up things. We don't assume things. We don't take things for granted. We do our research before we sit down and talk to you. And good morning, Sheila. Thank you so much for calling in and also for bringing in our guest, Shelley. And Shelley, thank you for coming on the air with us. And Patrick, thank you for being so kind to hold all this time. Sheila, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mohammed and John. With all the news going on today, I'm so happy about our person of the week who's bringing some sunshine into the community of Will County. Shelley, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about the great things that you're doing in Will County.
Well, thank you, Sheila. Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. My name is Shelley Skaz. I own the Healing Center and Coping Together and the Ranch, and we're super excited to tell everybody about the new things that we're doing at the ranch in Frankfort on a beautiful 20-acre property. We have equine therapy that we provide for the Healing Center, which is children and adolescents for mental health and ABA, and we have a pediatrician on staff. We have 4 locations, and the ranch being one of them. And then we also have Coping Together, and that's a not-for-profit that provides services to adults with intellectual disabilities. And we also provide counseling for individuals, group therapy, ABA. And this is all through the Medicaid waiver through the Illinois Department of Human Services and the Division of Developmental Disabilities in the state of Illinois.
Shelley, so if someone wants to find out more information, how do they find you? Do you have a website? Do you have a phone number that you can share with us?
Yeah, they can go to theranchfrankfurt.com and they can see different things that we post, different services that we offer. And we have a group coming up, an Empathy and Compassion equine group that we're going to start hosting next week on Wednesday. And every week we do day programming through Coping Together. So it's super exciting.
Okay, so the ranch,
Frankfurt.
I'm typing it in as you speak. So I want to say, welcome to the ranch. Okay, so it's at 9436 West Tager Road in Frankfort, Illinois, folks. And Shelley, you got Patrick as a guest on the air with us. You want to go ahead and introduce Patrick to us? Patrick, good morning.
Yeah. Pat O'Malley, he's our Director of ABA Services at the Healing Center and Coping Together, and he's been at the ranch with me for the past year, been with the Healing Center for about 8 years now, and Coping Together, so we've made a lot of progress. I want you to meet Pat, and he could talk about the ABA therapy services that we offer.
Patrick, good morning. Go ahead, please.
What does ABA stand for? What's the acronym?
Hi, good morning. Applied behavior analysis. So ABA kind of cut its teeth primarily with individuals with autism, and that's how it's more widely known. So we kind of go hand in hand. We're the only certified therapy to work with / treat kids with autism.
Go ahead, Patrick. I think we lost Patrick. So, Shelley, you want to continue what Patrick was saying? We just lost him.
Yeah, so Pat provides the ABA services to adults with developmental disabilities and also with the Healing Center with children and adolescents. It's a nice complementary add-on addition to the therapy that we provide, even going into equine therapy, working with horses and ponies and donkeys. And it's something that we saw that the community really needed, especially after COVID.
Hey,
We're typically doing
Shelley,
therapy. And
Patrick is back, and you said that you work with horses and donkeys. Does that include any of our Congress people?
Yeah. Bring them all over. We'll help work with them. No problem.
No,
we're all inclusive.
I was talking more about the donkeys, because most of them are asses out there, man. They're not doing the job properly.
No, my 3 donkeys are lovers. They're amazing. They're super sweet. They're cuddly.
Do they get
better than the horses?
Do they get taxpayer paid health care benefits?
They don't. So any money that we bring in.
Do they get $174,000 a year?
I wish they did. That'd be a lot easier on my pocketbook then, right?
Okay.
Shelley, talk a little bit about how important it is, how the great need. There's such a great need for this type of services, not only in Will County, but all over. Talk about the amount of people that you're serving in that area.
Yeah, so between Orland Park and New Lenox, we service about, we do about 2,500 sessions a month.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That does not include services at the ranch.
And if someone wants to contact you, I see that there's a phone number on your website, 708-740-5678, if you want to, set up a tour, folks. And we're talking with Shelley Skaz. And how do you pronounce your last name again, Shelley?
Skaz.
Repeat that.
S-K-A-S, Skaz.
Oh, Skaz. Okay. And also we have got Patrick, and Patrick is the program manager, program officer for ABA, Pat O'Malley. Patrick, thank you again for joining us. The importance of a service like that, what brought you to start something like this, Shelley?
Yeah, so I've been a therapist since 2007. And typically therapy is done in a 4-walled office, right? And it's kind of uncomfortable to tell everybody your life problems in a 4-walled office because that's not what life is really about. And then when COVID came about, everybody was stuck in the house and stuck to their screens, right? All these electronics. And the communication and the development and the social skills had really changed over the years. So we had seen that our community needed more, and the ranch has something that it's able to offer that we weren't able to offer in a typical therapy office.
Okay. So, folks, here's the thing. On the lightning strike, we like to bring in and highlight people who are making contributions to society. If you have got anyone that you would like us to focus on, please feel free to go to our website, www. Ken keeps on telling me, don't say www. Okay, it's tlschicago.com for the Lightning Strike Chicago. And, send in a request, and we would be happy to host you as a guest or focus on somebody that you would like to highlight. Again, the whole idea is this is a program for the people, by the people, of the people. It's your show. It's not my show or Ken's show or John's show, you folks. And we do need your help to keep the program going. Please visit our website again, tlschicago.com, and you'll see a button to make a small donation to help us pay our expenses over here. And thank you very much for joining us on this cold, snowy, freezing morning. And Dylan, thank you for coming into the studio, man, to man the boards also for us. I was not sure whether Dylan would show up today.
Stay warm and check on your neighbors.
Hey. Yes, Ken.
Hey, a really quick point on the ranch. They actually were the host before Shelley owned the place. for one of the Kentucky Derby winners back in the 1940s.
Wonderful
So,
information, Ken.
Thank
Thank you for sharing, folks. And again, you're tuned into the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim. Over and out. We'll see you next week, Sunday morning, 9 to 10 on WCPT.
The preceding program